Okay, good afternoon. We're convening the Real Property Committee meeting. It's 1:30 p.m. Monday, April the 11th. And we'd like to acknowledge that the press and the public have been duly notified of the meeting in accordance with the Freedom of Information Act. All of our committee members are here along with some staff. And our first order of business is approval of previous meetings minutes from March the 7th.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Any discussion or edits or corrections? Not all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, next order of business, citizens' comments. Do we have any comments at all? No citizens' comments. Marina tenant comments. We have no Marina tenant comments. So we'll move on to old business. So item 5A, update on the Marina dock rehabilitation project. So I'll turn that over to Desiree.
All right. We are very close to the completion of the dock project. The final inspection for charter and fuel docks is scheduled for this Friday, April 16th. They'll go over all punch list items and the condition of the systems that I'll talk a little bit about in a minute. The pump out station has been installed and is expected to be connected today. I'm waiting on confirmation once that happens. Once the tests have been performed on both the potable water systems and the pump out, ATM and the contractor will submit all that paperwork for DHEC so that they can grant the operational permit. Salmons is currently working on the as-built that they have to provide as part of the project. Again, real close on the fire suppression system, the water and sewer systems. All piping is in except for 2 standpipes that need to go in place, and the rubber hose is still pending. They do have plans to get that completed by Wednesday morning when they have the pressure testing scheduled for Wednesday. After the pressure testing is completed, they'll do the bacterial testing where DHEC comes out, takes a couple samples and compares them again before they offer the operational permit. So everything should be the 2 standpipes and the rubber hose, all that is expected to be installed between today and tomorrow and ready for testing on Wednesday. So we're very excited about that project being underway. Let me see. I think that's it. Really, the only 2 items that were pending was the water potable system and the fire suppression, and that should be completed.
Okay, so yeah, who's the inspection with? Is it DHEC, OCRM, Corps of Engineers to make sure we're in compliance with the permit along with the water testing and so forth?
That is DHEC, and Salmon's ATM, our contractor is in charge of submitting all that paperwork to them. And they come out and verify that.
Great, thank you.
Anybody else? Any other questions?
So hopefully by next month, my report is going to be that it is all completed and we don't have to talk about this anymore.
That'll be good. I've been going down on a daily basis just to see how things are going around the fuel dock. And see it slowly but surely making the progress. And I guess they got some extra help for them last week or the week before to get caught up a little bit.
We told them to do anything they needed to do.
Right. Okay. All right. Good. We'll move on then. Item B, update on the Marina restaurant renovation by Marker 116 LLC.
All right. So they're very close to. Hopefully y'all have either had a chance to walk the restaurant or plan to do so. It's really starting to take a lot of shape. They got their CO from the city last week. There are some remaining punch list items that they need to work through, and William, our building inspector, is working with them on that. Their primary outstanding issues are the fire suppression system on the kitchen and kitchen hood and the dumpster location, which I know that Robert Douglas have been working with both tenants on that. They're working on with DHEC to getting their final approvals to get their alcohol permit. I know that that's in the works. And as of last week, their target date for opening is early May. So we've been sort of instructed our building department to give them priority and work with them to try to facilitate their opening as much as possible. So William has been visiting them quite frequently making sure that whatever permits they need from us, we can facilitate that rather quickly.
Haven't walked through it recently, but been down there quite a bit. It really does look outstanding. The restaurant does, so.
We had an issue over the weekend where a water meter broke and there was water gushing in that area. They quickly called the fire department who shut everything off. The water and sewer commission folks went out there on Saturday to start fixing it. I believe it's already been fixed, and the Marina is the docks. It's the water meter that feeds the restaurant, the face dock. They've regained water, so that's good. We just had a little bit of a hiccup. As of right now, I don't know what may have caused the water break, but it's been fixed.
No questions?
Couple of things. Is Insight done with all of their third party and reporting inspections?
Not yet.
Okay,
No, they'll go get through us until finalized builds and everything's been turned in.
wonderful.
Mhm.
Get a final report.
Yes, sir.
Second, I mentioned to the administrator that I think it would be really something nice to do when the marina or when the restaurant guys are ready, to have some kind of grand opening ribbon cutting ceremony that I would at least like to start talking about. And maybe it's just not the restaurant. Maybe we celebrate all the new docks, the public dock, make it a nice ribbon cutting event. So I would like to kind of throw that out there for further discussion or take it up as high as we have to go.
I think that's a good idea. And I would personally like to see it not only celebrate the restaurant, but also all the work's been done at the marina. So I think it's worthy of discussion going forward.
Absolutely. I think it's a great idea. It might be something that the chair of Ways and Means is willing to put it on the agenda for a broader discussion. How big do we want the celebration to be? If it's a simple ribbon cutting, that's something we can pull together fairly quick, fairly simple, but I think it warrants more discussion about, what you all envision. But I do agree. I mean, it's all huge projects that I think we should celebrate and the community should as well.
Do we need to make any kind of motion or anything on that? Or
No.
Just bring it up to the chair.
Yeah, I'll bring this up to the mayor
Okay.
and encourage. Seems like there's consensus here to have a broader discussion, and I'm sure he'll be willing to do that.
And Councilman Streetman, he'll volunteer to have all the drinks and adult beverages.
He's pretty good at volunteering me. for
I
that.
know.
Any other discussion points around the restaurant at this point? All right, if not, we'll move on, and we're all looking forward to that restaurant opening as soon as it can. Item C, update on the proposed public dock and green space at the Isle of Palms Marina.
All right, a couple of things here. Staff have met several times with Davis and Floyd, who we've hired to do the design and the specs for the green space area. At our last meeting, it was strongly suggested that the city hire a structural engineer to look at the condition of the bulkhead. Because the bulkhead in that area is certainly different than the ones that are the section that faces the restaurant on the other side. Before we do anything structurally there with, expanding that wooden area, that we have somebody take a look at it and for us to understand its condition. Davis and Floyd is going to get back to us with some numbers about how much that would cost. And that would be something that will have to be done in the next several weeks before we do any construction. So now when it comes to a realistic timeline on when we can implement the green space improvements, we're looking at after the season. We wouldn't want to do anything that disrupts or threatens the integrity of the bulkhead in that area. And we'll be pursuing that in the next few weeks. In terms of the activities for the public dock, y'all know it's the public dock has been open. We have some rules posted, and we're monitoring that activity, particularly through the Assistant Public Works for Facilities and Maintenance, and certainly the police department, whose officers patrol and monitor that area. We're really excited about a couple of things that we're starting in the next month. The Recreation Department will be offering free meditation classes starting April 21st. It's going to be on Thursdays at 8 o'clock. Encouraging anybody to come, it'll be free. We are also working and partnering with Coastal Expeditions, a current subtenant of the Marina, to offer resident-only outings from the dock, 2 a month starting in May. So the groups will be 15 people in each outing, and residents will have an opportunity to register directly with Coastal Expeditions. They'll have to validate and show proof of residency so that, you know, it'll be free. That's something that the city will cover. We're a couple of the examples of the outings that we're looking at include Intro to Paddling, Salt Marsh Estuary Education Day, Sunset Family Paddle, Intro to Sea Kayaking, Coastal Bird Steward Day Kayaking, Sea Turtle Education Day, Morgan Creek Cleanup Citizen Science Service Day, Sunrise Paddleboarding, Citizen Science Appreciation Day. So we're looking at a variety of offerings so that we can, not only children or families, just so that it can appeal to a broader group of folks in our community, and also different times of the day, different hours of the day, so that for folks that work, they can still participate. We'll have some outings in the afternoons. We'll have, a sunset outing in the early morning for those that want to wake up really early and go kayaking. So we're trying to put together a schedule that is very varied and appeals to a broad section of folks. The idea would be to release the schedule by the end of this month, starting in May, for the first 3 months, so that we can maybe encourage the participation for those first 3 months. And people can see the schedule and then sign up for whatever event they want.
And it would be resident only?
Yes, sir.
It would not include short-term renters that are on the island for a week?
No, it would be for residents, for residents only.
Questions?
Excellent.
It does sound excellent. Sounds like there's going to be a lot of activity going on down there. I will say this too. I've seen a number of people down on the dock. I mean, now that people know that it's there and it's open, they've been going down there and sitting there and enjoying the view.
Yeah, we have received really good feedback from folks who use it and send a text or send a message. I think that doing this type of activity and classes will help introduce the public dock to a lot more people. And those that, in part of the partnership with Coastal Expeditions, people don't have to have a kayak. They'll provide all the equipment. So, it's not only necessarily accessible for people who already own a kayak or a paddleboard. This will help introduce them to this new amenity. So that's something we're really excited about and can't wait to see it.
What kind of insurance implications do we have? I mean, in terms of liability, is all that covered as well? So the city has no liability?
The city has liability coverage. We have that for every facility. So it's nothing different necessarily than what we currently have. Yeah. And Coastal Expeditions have insurance, so they're properly covered as well. So we should be covered in that.
All right, good. All right, let's move on to item D under old business. That's an update on the ADA beach access improvements.
All right, last week I sent a council notification from OCRM, who have approved our request to extend our Moby mats past the toe of the primary dune, closer to the water into the dry sand area, in order to enhance access to the beach for folks that may have physical challenges. We received that permit. We are in the process of extending the Moby mat, currently located at 42nd Avenue. That's the first one we'll do. After meeting with staff and sort of evaluating next steps, they felt really strongly about trying one first and see how that one behaves. with the, as you all know, we have patrol vehicles who patrol the beach. We have BSOs who patrol the beach, fire department vehicles whenever they're responding to calls. And because we are required to roll it back whenever there's a king tide, we really think that we want to try that one first and see operationally what it will require of staff moving forward. So 42nd Avenue should be extended by the end of this week.
Okay.
The next one that we'll consider is 9th Avenue, because those are the two that currently have handicap parking spaces in the public right of way, 42nd and 9th. So that'll be our next one until we are able to extend it in all of those that have been permitted. Second thing is 34A. You recall we're pursuing Greenbelt funding so that we can construct an ADA compliant walk over there. That project also includes the addition of a couple of handicap parking spaces on Palm Boulevard. And we have notified DHEC and OCRM that we will be requesting the same amendment for the extension of the Moby Mat once that project's completed. So they're expecting that. In terms of that project, Douglas attended and made a presentation to the Greenbelt Advisory Board last month, answered all the questions. And the main question was, why didn't we do 42nd? So they remembered that they had approved that project. And, we've addressed their questions. And I think everybody understands the reasoning why 34A makes more sense, because it is adjacent to public parking. It should allow us the opportunity to create that ADA boardwalk without any big issue or needing a ramp or. So we're waiting on them to approve the project as an eligible Greenbelt program project. And once we receive approval, we will start the bidding process. The city is matching 20% of the cost of that boardwalk.
Okay. Now, do we have to work with DOT also in regards to the handicap parking spots?
Yes, sir. We'll have to submit an encroachment permit, just like we did at 21st
That
Avenue.
would be after we get the Greenbelt approval, I guess.
Yes, I think it'll be, we're thinking about adding that as part of the scope of the boardwalk project. And then one last update on that is the beach wheelchair program. We're so excited about it. It's gotten really good feedback from folks. I think I asked the chief this morning to give me the total number of times it's been used. And he hasn't been able to get back to me, but as of last month, I think we've provided it to about 7 people. But it was cold weather. I think that, I was picking up lunch at the Seabiscuit one day and I saw somebody walk out with one, and I asked them, I said, oh, first time using it. And it was a resident. So that was exciting to see. The FY23 budget does include additional funds to potentially add a beach wheelchair to the inventory. So that's something that we'll monitor based, after this season, how the 3 that we currently have, how that works.
Excellent. All right, good updates on the old business. We're getting to the point where some of this is going to drop off.
I was just going to say, our list might be shrinking.
Yeah. All right, let's move on to new business, and that's discussion and consideration of proposed options for the redevelopment of the new public dock and also the T dock at the Marina, which ties into our strategic plan priority 5, goal A. So Desiree, you want to walk us through that?
Yeah, I'll kind of kick it off a little bit. So in your packet, you have the memorandum from ATM that shows options A, B, C for both the public dock and what we call the T dock, both on the intercoastal side. The last time we chatted about this was at the Ways and Means meeting or a city council when we had Kirby attend and kind of walk us through all the 3 options. I understand that option C came as a result of the real properties meeting in March. And then we talked a little bit more about it during the, during the budget workshop. And based on the feedback during the budget workshop, I think that there were no votes, no decisions made, but the consensus seemed to be around option C for both public dock and the intercoastal dock. the T-Dock. So we're looking at 700,000, around 700,000 for the option for the public dock, option C, and 1.4 for the T-Dock. And I just wanted to, again, say that the draft 2 of the budget that you'll get from us no later than Wednesday of this week, and that we'll discuss at Ways and Means next Tuesday, will include both option C for both. But because it was discussed sort of at a high level at the budget workshop, I felt like it needed a little bit more discussion, or it wouldn't hurt to have a little bit more discussion about it to see whether that's where you're still at, considering option C for both, or is there any other questions or any other discussion that would give us direction about what to do with FY23. So that's why it's on the agenda. So that this is the biggest, as you all said, we're dropping off a lot of big projects. So this would be the biggest project that the city would be pursuing next fiscal year. So I just felt like it warranted a little bit more discussion to make sure we're on the same track.
Well, let's open it up. Any discussion?
I'd be happy to start off if I could, Mr. Chairman.
Sure.
I'm actually okay either with option A or option C on the public dock. We need the ADA compliant gangway. We got to have that. So either one of those options I could live with. I've been on the T-Dock numerous times, and I walked it yesterday for about 2 hours. And other than a little bit of rub rail, one cleat had to be adjusted. The pedestals, some of them are in not good shape. The water was not working on the restaurant side, but it was working on the coastal expedition side. Other than that, the fire extinguishers were there in good shape. The pilings looked like they were in good shape. The piling guides look like they were in good shape. The floater looks like it's in great shape, good shape, I should say, not great shape. The pilings, all of it looks really good to me. Kirby said we still have 10 years left on that. And personally, I just don't know that we need to spend much money down there. As far as electrical, I mean, the boats are Carolina skiffs or, center console boats. I don't know why they would need electricity. That might be more of a Brian question. We would have to probably fix the water on the restaurant side. I'm not sure what the problem is, but personally, I don't think we need to spend any kind of money down there, any kind of big kind of money. But I can support either A or C on the public dock. Thanks.
So just for the record, just a reminder, the city did spend about $20,000 last year making some improvements only on the side that's the restaurant. So that was part of our contractual obligations to them to replace bumpers and whatnot. But all of the electrical and water, that would be their responsibility. The city did agree in the contract with the restaurant that any major replacements the city would cover, just as we do with the other side. But maybe the reason why the condition in that section doesn't look as terrible as it did is because we did some minor work.
So, Council Member Hobson, so are you saying your recommendation for the intercoastal dock is option A?
Actually, I don't think I would vote for any of the options other than going down there and making the minor repairs that I just threw out there.
So,
But that's just my opinion.
I mean, what's there right now is not ADA compliant. I mean, we are the landlord, so we are responsible for that property. And according to at least the Marina lease, we're responsible for maintenance of it. I think that it's the fact that it's not ADA compliant and we've just put all this money into the other docks. So this is the restaurant dock. I mean, when the restaurant starts having a lot of people come and using it, we're encouraging people to come and use a non-ADA compliant dock. I mean, I feel like we have an obligation to make that better than it is now. I mean, I don't think it's, you know, I feel like that's part of our obligation as the landlord who has taken over the responsibility for maintenance. And if you're gonna go, I mean, that, if you're gonna start down that road with, I mean, the biggest expenditure is the ADA gangway. So I feel like once you do that, you gotta do at least, you know, a little bit more than that, because that would just, you know, it'd be silly to just do the ADA gangway without any other repairs. So I still think C is great, is the best option for both. And it's reasonable, you know, from the monetary standpoint, it's reasonable. And it'll give us a longer useful life, and we'll get ADA compliance on both of them. And, you know, so I just feel like, that would be the best thing for us to do for both the public and the T-Doc.
You know, that I'm glad you brought that up. I kind of looked at that ramp as well, and the degree of fall is not really steep. So I'm wondering, but it does have the skid rails on it, and at the end, it kind of falls off. You have, I almost have to step down. And I might be a Kirby question, but I'm wondering if we're almost really close to ADA compliant with the slope of that current ramp that's there, minus taking off the slip rails and doing something on the bottom. But that might be a
Were you there at low tide?
no.
Because that's ADA compliance has to be low tide, right? I'm my understanding, and I think I asked this question,
That's a good point.
and that's why they have to be so long, because it has to be at the, and I think it's even like the lowest low tide. It's not, you know, so that, I mean, that's the problem, is that you get that, you know, it does drop down so much when it is dead low tide. So I think that's, I mean, that's my, from a urgency standpoint, that's my issue. From just the fact that we've, at that point, if we did the public dock, we've done all the other docks, so we basically have like one dock that we were like just letting it be. Just from an aesthetic standpoint, I feel like, but that could wait, you know, a year or two. But I think the urgency from my standpoint is the ADA issue. And just the, you know, the liability behind it if we leave it the way it is.
Well, maybe there's an option D and just trying to figure out how to get ADA compliant. But anyway.
All right, let me weigh in. I gotta tell you, I walked away from the previous meetings we've had, and I've been leaning all along with option C for both of them. I mean, I think to have it ADA compliant, to have the look that we want to have it, you know, look very similar to what we have all over the marina. There's certainly going to be an increased traffic component down there, and I'm in favor of option C for both. That's where my head is, and that's where I think most of the sentiment we had in previous meetings kind of leaned towards option C as well. So, is there any further discussion?
Guys, what do we need to, is this an action? Like, we don't need to do anything, or?
It says consideration.
Yes, it's discussed.
So-
It gives you the flexibility if you want to take action, you know, if the committee wants to make a formal recommendation to Ways and Means, that, you know, it has, did the city consider option C for both? It wouldn't hurt. The draft 2 of the budget already includes both of those options.
Well, to that end, I'll make a motion that,
I'm sorry.
go ahead.
Can we break these up in votes?
Sure, we can do that.
Okay. Would you-
You can just make it be do public dock first, have a motion for public dock and whatever option, and then a motion
Okay.
for the other one.
All right, I make a motion that we consider option C for the public dock.
Or that we recommend. Is that right? Is that what we're, yeah,
Recommend option
okay.
C for the
Yeah.
public dock.
second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 No opposed on that. All right, so now we're looking at intercoastal dock. And I will make a motion that we consider option C for the intercoastal dock.
I'm sorry. And again, this is recommend, I mean, so we're recommending that this is our,
Mhm.
what we would like to do.
Motion to
So
recommend, yeah.
Yeah. Second.
Any discussion? All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed?
Nay.
All right. Let's clear that matter. And let's see, our next order of business is miscellaneous business, and that's to cover our next meeting date, which is scheduled for 1:30 PM, Monday, May the 2nd, 2022. Is that date good for everybody? Okay.
Works for me, Mr. Chair.
All right, so got that set. I hear a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion.
Second.
Motion to adjourn.
Se-
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye.